Hello, welcome to the new year. This is 2024 Wolfborg here. Oh my god. This last year was an interesting time in many ways for me in my personal life and with the YouTube channel stuff. We started the anime book club series, which is still going on. It hasn't been for the past couple weeks because of the holidays, but we will continue as of this week. This Thursday, we'll be talking about I Am a Hero, and then next week we're going to be talking about the first two volumes of New Game, which is my pick that's going to be coming up. So I'm very excited for that, of course, because I really like New Game. In the summer, we hit the milestone of 3,000 subscribers, so that's just fucking amazing. I started off towards the beginning of the year with my first ever AMV. Well, I say first ever, my first ever like official anime AMV, I guess, that I intended to. I want to consider it more professional AMV compared to my old like 2007 Final Fantasy VII Advent Children and Linkin Park AMVs that literally everybody was doing the same 5 fight scenes or whatever. I did my own AMV this year that I consider my first traditional AMV, I guess. My first official debut into making AMVs. Not that that's going to be like my whole thing on the channel now. I did it because, one, I was interested in trying it out now that the years have passed and I know how to edit more. And I also was really interested in trying to enter that into Anime Boston for this year. So I submitted that. I made that in January, posted it up, edited it out. It was Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop and a Porter Robinson song. I think it was Something Comforting, something like that. I like Words Like Bubble Up Like Soda Pop, and I like the song Something Comforting, and I felt like I had something there. So I put it together, and I'm really, really happy with what I created with that. I thought it was very fun for me to do, personally, because I like editing stuff to timings and stuff like that. I don't get too crazy with my edits. Like I'm not pulling out After Effects or whatever yet, but maybe sometime in the future I'll start trying to dabble into that, I guess. So I did submit it for Anime Boston. It did not get nominated for any of the finals or anything, but it was still awesome to like make something and try to submit it there. I thought that was cool. And then I eventually requested them to play it in one of the rooms so that I could watch it on there and show it to my brother who came with me. So it was an awesome, awesome time. And it did give me a decent chunk of views, like 1,000 or so, to start off the year. So that was pretty good. Of course, it immediately got copyright strike because of the Porter Robinson song, but that was kind of expected. I was just really hoping that it was not going to strike the channel. That was my main point. I don't give a shit about making money off that video. I just didn't want to get in trouble with that video on my channel. So I was nervous about whether I was going to put it on the main channel or the side channel. So I ended up putting it on the main channel, and it all worked out, and it went well, I think. What else did I do? I did a manga review of a Yuri manga series, and I felt like that went really well, of just me rambling about that kind of series and my impressions of it. Let's see, what else did I do? I did the visual novel that files your taxes for you, the dating sim that files your taxes. I did that video, and that went really, really well. That got me like 6K views. And apparently caught the attention of family members who had forgotten they had subscribed to me and then immediately started showing off the video to other family members. And then I have to have this awkward conversation of the fact that I make anime videos sometimes to these people. I appreciate that they enjoy my content, but it's just fucking awkward. I don't really talk about any of this stuff with them because some of it's weird to explain, but I mean, it's no secret that I like anime. Like, it's no secret at all. But I don't know. It's just kind of awkward to talk about that stuff. So I just don't really. But that video did really well, and I had a fun time making it because it was a really interesting topic about it. This weird art project joke thing. And then it got me a ton of views because it was a popular topic thing at the time, and I felt like, at least, that I edited it really well. So, that kind of felt really, really good to do, and I wanted to keep up that kind of energy, and that was one I edited all myself, too. So I tried doing that again with another topic that had come up recently for the K-Manga app that came out, the Kodansha's thing that was terrible. That did dog shit by comparison. That did, like, 218 views, but maybe that's just because the topic is just far less interesting and nobody really cares about Kodansha manga stuff or whatever. I don't know. It's not as eye-catchy already, and then I probably didn't. It's not really a topic that I can have as much like fun with the like funnies, I guess. I don't know. So you had one video that did 6K, and then immediately after a video that did 200. So, you know, you can very clearly see that there's a big difference. Also, these were like 2 months apart, something like that. So, you know, I'm still trying to get used to what I kind of want to enjoy and make as like my regular content, both in terms of what I like to do and what other people like to watch, I guess. Because if I'm making something, if I'm putting all this time into something and like nobody gives a shit about it, I don't know. A part of me is just like, well, I still want to do it. And the other part of me is like, well, this is just me wasting my time doing it. I could be doing it. I could be spending far more time doing something else. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm trying to kind of figure it out because I do know I want to keep making content of some kind, but there's a lot of times where I either don't know what topic I want to make a video on at that time, or the projects that I am working on for videos are things that are going to take me a while to like work through. And many times I have to take breaks from them, especially things like some of the anime science projects. I'm still working on the Healer Girl anime science video, which I took a ton of notes in the past whenever I've worked on it, but when I take too much of a break, now it's like, okay, well now I have to go through all my old notes that I took, and now I don't like the draft that I started on it before, so now I gotta rewrite all of that. It's a whole thing. This Healer Girl anime science video has taken so long to do. I had started that, I think, 2 Steins Gate videos ago, too. I know there was at least one. Maybe it was 2 Steins Gate videos ago. So, you know, I mean, Steins Gate's far easier for me to write on because most of Steins Gate is also explaining some of the science stuff in some way, and then it's just a matter of checking to verify how accurate that actually is, or if they're using liberties loosely with some concepts that they found. So that makes it pretty easy. But for something like Healer Girl, it's a lot more challenging because I'm taking what's presented in that show as a like supernatural medical ability and comparing it to like the real life stuff. A part of that video is going to be talking about the structure of that world itself in terms of what it shows us this world is like, how it treats healing as like a field of science in that world, because it's treated as like an extension of the medical industry there. And then also trying to look into ways in which some of those things could be theoretically tied to things in reality, most of which won't amount to anything much more than, I guess, it has some benefits, but it's more of like, I think one of the main things I was trying to think of is like, if we wanted that to work, if we wanted that kind of ability to work in the real world, what would in theory have to be allowed in order for that kind of stuff to happen? And a lot of that kind of stuff with the research seems to have to deal with one, neuroscience kind of related stuff, like cognitive, like when you hear sound, how your brain processes it and what functions it triggers. And then the other one, it has to do with endocrinology, which is all about like how your body produces hormones and what each of those do and things like that. And because, you know, certain sounds you hear can create certain types of hormones and stuff like that. So it's a question of like, can that kind of thing be used? And or is it just like vibrations of sounds? Can certain vibrations of sounds do things at like a cellular level to certain parts of your body? Things like that is where I'm just kind of playing with those ideas right now, just to give you a kind of idea of how complicated that can be, because I'm not a medical person myself. But funnily enough, while trying to research into that video, I eventually stumbled into a couple articles, or I think it was just at least one, related to my boss at work, because I work for a hospital, and my boss was apparently associated with some study in the past that related to musical effects on the brain, specifically for people in MRI machines that are being scanned as they're like something related to jazz. I don't know if it was like pretend like you're playing while you're in the MRI machine or something like that. I don't remember, but I have the paper somewhere or whatever. So I talked to him a little bit about that, and that was just interesting. But I didn't record talking to them because I didn't really want to do that. But I am interested in potentially like trying to reach out to actual experts and talking with them about it. But I'm at a point right now where I don't really know if I want to do that yet because I'm not big enough for most of these people to give a shit. I tried emailing one person related to one of the Steins Gate videos that did the tractor fields one. I tried emailing a person who did a video presentation related to paradoxes or like logical issues with time travel, things like that. Some metaphysics stuff related to time travel theory. And I emailed that person and asked if they would be interested in being a part of the video that I was working on at the time. And I think they got back to me saying like that they were busy for like the year or something like that, so they wouldn't be able to. I don't know if maybe they thought that I was like not just some YouTuber dude. It sounded like in the email that they thought I was like an institution trying to get them involved with a project. That's not at all what I was doing, but I don't know if that's how they got that. That's just kind of how it felt to me in the video. I was just like, in the email, I was reading the email and I was just like, well, I mean, it would be just like a 5-10 minute talk of like a couple questions that I had, or maybe not 5-10 minutes. It'd just be like an hour talk about it. It's not like a long term, like, but I get it. Like some people are busy. It felt to me like they thought I was like a bigger thing than I actually am. So I don't know what's going on with that, but their information was very useful, that from the video that I watched, and I took notes about it, and I think that might have been sourced in my video towards the end, depending on if I actually used some of that stuff in the final cut of that. I don't remember, but it was interesting. So, things like that are where I'm just kind of like, I have those kind of projects that I'd like to focus on sometimes, but also it's a lot of stuff that's far more complicated. I'm not a medical expert at all. I'm a computer science dude who happens to work for a hospital building websites. So very, very different, very, very different skill sets. Speaking of, I have my name credited in a science journal paper now because of my work doing that kind of stuff. It's specifically related to, it's in, what is it called? Frontiers in something. It's about neuroinformatics, which is basically like how data is collected related to neuroscience stuff, I think is how you would describe that in summary. And basically I wrote a script that takes a whole bunch of terminologies that they have written into semantic language kind of format stuff, and it basically takes that and all the relationship associations and converts those into a website through the script, and allows like all the different connections and stuff to like just display properly and associated in certain ways and displays in the different categorizations. So my script basically did that for it, and so that's why my name is kind of credited into it. So I think that's pretty cool that I did not expect to be acknowledged like that for my work there. So listen, I just really like that I'm doing some important work. I was doing important work the last place that I did, I felt, and I feel like I'm doing important work at the place that I'm currently at. So all that's great, because that's all I really want. I want to be contributing to like meaningful shit, but it's hard at times because like, I don't know. It doesn't really extend to just my website development stuff. I want to do important stuff related to anime stuff too. That's why I run the Jutaku network now, and why I'm trying to like get writers to write regular content for it, why I'm doing the rebranding stuff. I want to be able to contribute in some way, in a meaningful way. And it's also why I do these YouTube videos. Well, maybe not this specific kind of YouTube, because this is more of like an update ramble kind of thing. But some of my other YouTube videos, like reasons why I don't like Y or X thing, because some of those opinions I think are important, because some of those I don't think people necessarily want to talk about, because it's like their favorite thing. But that's not like the main focus. There's just like occasionally like I have a show that I don't like for X reason, but it's pretty popular, so I'm going to make a video on it because it's pretty easy for me to articulate why I don't like X thing that is popular. So which It's unfortunate because it makes it come across like I hate everything at times, because those ones tend to get a lot of views and tend to have the loudest comment sections. But I don't know, it's easy to hate on things. It's easy to think of things you want to criticize, I guess. Whereas, you know, things that I want to praise, it's a lot of like I have this opinion, but I'm pretty sure other people have already had this opinion a lot, and I don't know. It's a different thing. I do positive reviews, but nobody watches them, so I don't know. Oh, except for the Goodbye Airy one. People have been watching the Goodbye Airy video I did a lot recently. I've been getting a lot of comments on that saying this is really great, this is awesome, so I'm really glad people enjoyed that. Man, that's awesome. And, you know, the hope is as well that videos like that one, where it is positive, it helps promote those kind of stories for other people who were not familiar with it before, perhaps. But usually I'm assuming most people that watch those have already read the series. And with that one in particular, I believe it was already available to read for free as a one-shot. I think it even said towards the beginning, read that before watching it, so I don't know. But like, I like doing the videos in general because I feel like it's important as contributions in general to discussions on these animes and mangas. And the anime science videos are dealing into, you know, this is going to be taking these science concepts presented in these things, and I'm going to be looking at them not just through the lens of fiction, but comparing it with reality stuff. And that I think is important because I don't think that there's too many channels actively doing that. There's more so a lot of, at least in the anime community sphere, there's more so a lot of channels focused on reviewing like the productions themselves or like the animation styles themselves, which I am dog shit at talking about art related stuff because, again, I'm a computer guy. You want me to talk about some writing stuff, I could do that, I guess, but I can't really, I can't focus as much as like what is like, how is animation done, what are like these, like I can tell when something looks bad, and that's about the most I can really articulate to you about some of those things. But when it comes to like stuff like simplifying certain things, in my mind, I feel like that's kind of where my talents have grown towards, especially in terms of like how I explain these kind of things in my videos. I just kind of focus on, these are some things that people want to hear about. How do I uncomplicate that? Like with the science stuff, it's very difficult, and that's a lot of the focus on it is like, okay, how do I talk about black hole theory bullshit and all this like event horizon stuff? What is vampires going into space? How do you explain all the different stuff that goes on in the bodies of a vampire? These are fictional creatures. How would they even work in theory? Like things like that. Like what? Like medical stuff related to Healer Girl. And it's a lot of stuff for me because I'm not a medical expert. So if I try to reduce these kind of things into ways that are easy for me to understand, I'm trying to like quadruple check to make sure I'm not fucking it up in some way. But I'm sure I do in some areas. It's just nobody's called me out for it yet. Except for Steins Gate, people had tried to call me out for a statement I made regarding Okabe going to different parallel world lines, and they were like, well, technically the world lines aren't parallel existing at the same time, only one world line exists at once. And my follow-up video eventually about attractor fields was trying to address that, was like one of the main reasons why that one happened. And the consensus, it's been a while, I don't remember exactly what I said in it, so I might be misquoting myself, but I believe it was something along the lines of, the show might say that in theory it's not parallel, but logically speaking, it would have to be. The show just says it's not because narrative, pretty much. And it's like, I understand like things like the tip section in the visual novels say, they will literally say they exist at once. But again, that's just where I say like, logically speaking, for it to work, which is what I'm trying to like talk about, they would have to. So if the show is saying that they don't, and you just say quantumly, that it doesn't have to, and I'm like, well, then quantumly a lot of other things don't fucking work. It's a whole thing. So I'm sure I explained a lot better in that video, so you can just go watch those and whatever. I think that was pretty much the only real time I've had arguments so far about the anime science stuff. And again, that was more just like a question of what the show said worked with its logic in the background, rather than like, I guess, how it would work in reality, I guess. And I don't know, a lot of that stuff seemed like it was argued back and forth within some of the adventure science community themselves. So I did also at some point figure out, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in the video, my first anime science video about Steins Gate got like, somebody put that on the Steins Gate Wikipedia, like the fan Wikipedia page. Somebody uploaded that onto there. I saw that at some point because I was doing more research for future Steins Gate videos, and I was like, wait a minute, this is my video here. What? I mean, like, that's cool that somebody liked it and thought it was a good enough explanation to put it up there. I just feel like it's weird now that I'm, like, trying to go onto these pages to do research and verify some of my things, and I'm seeing myself as, like, a source for some of this, and it's like, well, what do I say? Source, me. Like, what? I don't know. I just thought that was funny, but yeah. So, looking back on my channel uploads now, though, I may talk about the anime science stuff, but I've now realized I have not uploaded a single anime science video in all of 2023. So, I want that to change this year in some way, but I also don't want to be churning out videos. I don't want to just churn it out and just not be satisfied with it, because those are like, the anime science videos to me are like my babies, which is why it takes them so long to be done. Unless you're Steins Gate, which is pretty easy for me to write about, but I'm trying to write about other stuff, which is why I did a video about Arena of the Vampire Cosmonaut, which got views from the Arena of the Vampire Cosmonaut fan base. Not much outside of that, but still, I'm still very glad about that video, and I'm still happy with how it turned out. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few different angles I can go with some anime science videos. Healer Girl is one that I'm still actively trying to work on. I do also want to work on potentially multiple videos about psychopaths, because there's a lot of anime science related topics that I'm sure you could discuss about each of those seasons. Or at the very least, though, I want to talk about season 1, because season 2, oh my god, season 2 was so bad. I'm so scared to try out season 3. I'm so scared. But season 1 was based. Go check out season 1. I have also been trying to float around this idea in my head for years now for an anime science video related to Death Note. I know you might be saying, how would you do that? Well, the title would be something like, I built a Death Note. I built a real life Death Note anime science, or something to that effect, where the goal would be to take this old supernatural concept of the Death Note and all its rules and how it was done back in that time that it was being released, and show off how you could have a similar kind of device in reality and how close you could get towards what it was and its effects. Now, obviously, it wouldn't actually do anything. It wouldn't do that stuff. It would not actually kill anybody, but it would be, you know, a kind of like experiment towards like, where's the line between something that's supernatural and something that's scientific in terms of how to create this kind of thing. And in my head, I'm trying to like go through like how I would do it, because I could explain in theory how it would work, but what I wanted to do is make an actual functioning thing, because I felt like that would be cool. But there's a couple problems with that that I kept having to like juggle around in my head, which is why I've done like nothing towards that. Pretty much it's pretty much still just an idea that I'm messing around with, because I'm just like, okay, well, in real life, the most effective Death Note would not actually be a physical thing that you write pencil to paper with or whatever. It would not be a book of paper. It would be a fucking tablet or a phone, and then you'd like write on it, or like you'd press a button on it. Like that would be the easiest thing. But obviously that's no fun, because once you have that, then it's just, okay, you can do whatever. That's no fucking fun. So it could be a whole video where I'm just explaining in theory how like you would have it work as like a computer program, which isn't, I don't think that's cool enough. So the idea then would be, okay, well, maybe it can be about how drawing tablets themselves work, and you get like, I basically build a notebook that when you write on it, it also sends these signals through like some panel on the back to a like computer app thing or whatever, or like a Raspberry Pi thing, and from that you're able to like have a notebook that you can physically write in that would also send messages based on what you write to like some program and then execute the supernatural functions or whatever. But that whole thing was just a whole thing like, and then I have to learn about how you make books and stuff, like to get it to look right in some kind of way, or maybe I have to like look into the technology of doing drawing tabs, and really it needs to be something to where like you can physically write on a piece of paper, not just a tablet itself. It has to be like pieces of paper, but when you write into the pieces of paper, it just also says, and even that wouldn't be totally accurate because the Death Note, as we see in the anime, it works just based on writing on the paper, not just it being in the notebook. You can tear pages out of the notebook, right onto the pages, and it will still work for its thing. So even with that idea, it doesn't fully work. But again, these are just ideas in my head related to Death Note, because I don't know, for some reason in my head, I feel like there's something that I could do related to the Death Note as a concept and its rules and how you can have those kind of rules work. Maybe it'd just be a kind of thing where I would be comparing it to like a device that's as close to how it should work with its functions. Like things like if you're doing something searching based off a person's name, like how do you gather that information properly? I don't know. I'm rambling too much about that. Listen, I want to do more anime science videos this year. That's one thing. Doesn't necessarily have to be a ton. I at least want to do one. I want to do at least more anime science videos than I did last year. So if I do one, I'm already off to a good start, okay? I want to do that. And then also I want to do more... I want to do more general anime kind of content videos, but I'm not sure, like thematic kind of essay anime videos. I don't mean just reviews of things. I want to do like thematic essays of some kind of way. My problem has always just been having some kind of focus for those kind of things. You know, like I had one script that I started at some point related to empathy in Ranking of Kings. That might be something I revisit. I had another script in the past that was comparing Mob Psycho to One Punch Man in terms of like the different twists that they do on the shonen protagonist like journey, where like One Punch Man is about a hero who has reached the end of like training towards his goal pretty much, and the joke is like, what do you do after that? Well, I guess the joke, the drama, I guess, because he's kind of depressed about it or whatever, at least in the beginning from what I remember. When because like most shonen is just like young person working towards a goal through like their whole like focusing on this one thing, making friends to do it and all that. But the One Punch Man's thing is he's already reached the goal and now he's kind of depressed about it. Like, what do you do after that? What do you do once you've reached the end of like your ultimate training, right? Whereas Mob Psycho is more of a question of what do you even want to be the thing that you focus on, right? Like Mob Psycho is not about him training to become a psychic. He's already like, he's a skilled psychic, but he doesn't really want to be like a psychic as like his main thing. He wants to find different things that he actually enjoys doing that aren't necessarily that. So it's you know, that's kind of like a different flip, and I like Mob Psycho a lot more because of those kind of things. But like each of them has their own interesting things. So like that's a whole essay that I had started at some point, and then I think I abandoned that one for a while because that was a lot of that was just me saying One Punch Man sucks. It has like one joke, whereas Mob Psycho does a lot more interesting things or whatever. And I don't know if I necessarily liked how I was going with that focus, and it was hard for me to be like, let me just take a step back and focus on the other thing, and then I think I got distracted with some other projects, so that's why you never saw that. But that's another script that I sort of start and then haven't made progress towards, but it's still in my brain. It's in my brain. You might see it at some point. And some other content that has always been in my brain is doing one or several videos focused on different aspects of New Game, which is one of my favorite anime / manga ever for some reason. I mean, I really enjoy it, but it's not something that a lot of people talk about. It's something that a lot of people know exists, but it's not a lot that people talk about because it's, to them, it's just slice of life game devs, waifus who have Yuri moments at times. And for me, it's, I don't know. It just, I really, really dig so much about the story. It's one of the pieces of media that I will revisit that always just suddenly gets me hyped and in the mood for game dev, like hyper aggressively. Whereas there's like others where it's like, well, I see what they're doing, but I don't really feel that one. And it was a documentary about indie games. I think it was just called Indie something or whatever. It was like a Netflix documentary or something that at some point was on Netflix. And it was about like the developers of Meat Boy, Super Meat Boy. Is that what it's called? Super Meat Boy. The guy who made Braid, Jonathan Blow. Like things like that. Some of those are like things that really motivate me for game dev. But it also motivates me for like more than just that. It motivates me to like focus towards like anything that I want to do. So things like that are, and then also each of the characters in that series I think are great, and all the different arcs that the author puts them through are great. So I've wanted to for a while. I've been thinking about different ideas for content I could do with those kind of things. One of them at some point was the idea of going through and doing chapter reviews of each chapter of a new game and have a separate video for each of them. So it'd be like, hundreds of videos of just chapter reviews, like chapter analysis, I more would say, rather than reviews, because it wouldn't just be me reading it and responding to it, because I've already read the series several times. It'd be me more focusing and doing analysis over time with these kind of things, I guess. But that one I was like, that's a lot to commit to for something that I have not done before for a series that I love. So I don't know if I want to do that, because I feel like that will really disappoint me when I ultimately don't do that, or don't like fully commit the time to do that, or am not satisfied with how it's going. So I didn't want to commit myself to that for hundreds of videos. Then I thought to myself, well, what if I write it all out and then record it eventually, or what if I slowly record it over time, and then once I'm done, I publish it all as one big thing. I don't mind the idea of publishing something as one big thing later, but again, it's still like a time thing, and worry about like whether or not I'll be satisfied with it in general. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt anything if I like try it, but I have other things that I'd rather focus my time on, so I don't know. I guess for some reason I have not decided to dedicate my time towards that yet. But what I have been devoting my time towards lately is the author's newest series, Idle Story. For those of you who don't know, I am one of the manga fan translators of the series that post about it on Places, your local video store, library, or whatever, because I'm a big fan of the author's work, and at first nobody was translating it. Somebody else started, and then I decided to help them because they were doing machine translations, and I was like, whoa, hold on. You don't do that. I'm not the best with my Japanese yet, but I'm at a point enough where I can read things and pretty much understand some things at a glance, and then I'll just go back through each of the stuff that I don't know more finely to like understand it properly and research properly. So I've more been using the series myself to both learn, practice, and to like be able to help get that out there to like for the so I started off doing that, and then other groups got involved with like one group before just tried to start blatantly sniping us. They did like a couple chapters and then stopped, and we were like, the fuck was that? They didn't even say anything to us. And it's like we could work with you guys if you talk to us, and they didn't. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Another group came through recently, and they reached out and they contacted me directly because they saw that I was one of the other people, part of the other group working on it. And they asked us if we were still working on it. And I said, yeah, but it's still taking us time to upload our chapters because of various things on my side with how slow it takes me to translate things, and the typesetter side with how much time he ends up getting tied up with in real life. So they were going to pretty much upload their chapters, and then, we could do ours at our own pace, but they wanted to be able to do stuff because they were trying to get into manga translations, I guess, because I think before they just did like Kamen Rider fan subs. I'm not sure if they ever did manga translations before this, but they wanted to try to get into that scene is what it felt like to me. So they wanted to get in with that series. I said, sure. And then I, posted about it on the Reddit, which I'm a mod on, the official, well, I say official, but the fan subreddit, the only fan subreddit for the series. I posted, explained to people, hey, this next group, they're not sniping, they're continuing the series, they have our blessing, we're still working on things on our end, since we've been there from the beginning, but ours might take a little longer, so lately, though, I've been on a binge with my translations of the series. I've been doing good. Maybe it's just because of the holidays and I had a lot of extra time. But yeah, so I have lately been doing pretty much everything for the latest chapters that we did because the other person is very busy and dealing with other stuff right now. And we were like 10 translations ahead of where our typesetting was. So I decided to like take over that. So, because I was already familiar with the process for all these things. But they wanted to do the typesetting and I wanted to focus more on the translation. So that was pretty much how we divided it. So things have been going good for that. Things have been growing really good for Idle Story. The other group has the chapters currently, as I make this video, up to chapter 29, and there are 31, or is it 32? I think there's 31 current chapters of the series that have been released. So they are almost at the current number of chapters, which is a goal that I was hoping to get us to eventually. But I'm so glad another group showed up to actually bring it there quicker so that everybody can be caught up and be big fans of the series and keep up with it weekly, and I'm really happy for that. I've never really cared about being the only group translating it or whatever. That's not something I care about because I understand I'm slow in my translation. My translation might be pretty fucking wrong in some areas, or like, I don't know. But I just wanted to do something because I would rather somebody be working on this who is a fan rather than having machine translations work on that kind of stuff. That's what I wanted, and I'm a big fan of the author. I highly recommend supporting the series. I have bought several copies of these things, and this is not English, so these are all Japanese, and I wanted some of the extra, you can't see them here, but like some of these things are all the way over here are like the goods that you get, like special posters or like cards or whatever. And I have like some clear files in the corner over there too, but you get them from certain areas by like ordering different copies like from those areas. So I have like multiple copies of each volume that are in Japanese. So I'm just like, well, who the fuck do I know that would want these if it's all in Japanese? So I just give a copy occasionally to my brother, even though he doesn't know Japanese at all, just because why not? So I'll be giving him a copy of Volume 3 pretty soon. Because there's 3 volumes of the series out right now, and then Volume 4 is coming out. Actually, I don't know when it's coming out. They haven't officially announced it, but it's going to be coming. We're like 10 chapters ahead of where this one ended. So it's coming eventually. So yeah, I've considered eventually doing a video on Idle Story, because I think one of the only other YouTube videos about this series that are up on YouTube, I haven't checked today, but I think one of the only videos that are up on YouTube about the series is a video by me, I think, because I think I did a video about the announcement of the series back when it first was announced, like last year or 2022. I posted that video not on this channel or my main channel. I posted it on the Jitaku Network YouTube channel. And then I also wrote that video as an article on Jitaku Network. That's pretty much my kind of pipeline with some content that I write for Jitaku Network. I will write a news thing that happened on Jitaku Network, and then I'll take that article, use that as a script, and throw together a quick like 2-3 minute video for the Jitaku Network YouTube. And I've done that for a couple videos, and it's done pretty well at times. It's more just a question of like, do I want to, like, what topics do I want to do a video on for these kind of things? And with that one, I was just biased because I'm a big fan of the series. Anyways, I'm rambling a lot for various reasons here. I did not come in here with a script. I just wanted to make a video for the new year. I was considering as well if I want to do these kind of like vlog videos for this side channel more often, like a daily thing or so, but I don't know if I could commit to daily, maybe weekly or maybe monthly, because I'd also want to like have them not just be like me rambling about it. I want them to be like focused in some kind of way in some kind of topic, and I don't know how I want to structure that. So this is not me saying expect that. This is me saying maybe that'll happen. I don't want to commit to anything with this, okay? So as for resolutions for 2024, I have not come up with any solid ones that I want to commit towards yet, but I do plan to at some point, and then I'll probably post about it in my Discord channel there. I have a resolutions Discord channel on the server where people can post like what they want the resolutions to be, and then after a certain point I'll lock the channel, and then we'll revisit the channel next year when we open it up again for next year's stuff. So I'll probably do that at some point soon, and we'll see how that goes. if I had to guess what some of my goals are going to be, it's going to be get my translations for Idle Story caught up to what they currently are and try to keep up with that on my end. Finish my Jotaku Network rebranding project because I have a whole new name and like design stuff. I have the new name and the logo designed for what I'm going to be rebranding the website with, but I still have to redesign the website layout, and I still have to come up with a concrete plan for how exactly I want our content to be focused for the coming like time frame, at least for the next year or so, to see how that goes. So I have a few writers lined up for work if I need them. So different types, different skills, different experiences. So we'll see how that goes. It's nice of the heater to sometimes occasionally just turn on to fuck up my audio and then turn off at random times. That's always fun. And then I also, of course, have this nice camera here now that you're seeing me use right now, which I intend to use more often. Surprisingly enough, ever since I got it, haven't been doing that many videos or streams with my camera on. We have been doing streams. If you haven't been paying attention, we do streams weekly over on the main channel for the Anime Book Club, which has been going really well with our discussions. I think I actually mentioned that towards the beginning of this video, but now I've forgotten, so oh well, you're getting the ramble again. We do that weekly. We're going to be talking about I Am a Hero this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so tune in for that. I'll probably schedule the premiere for that once I'm done recording this. So that's been interesting. I've been doing that, but I don't have cameras on during it because I would be the only one, so that feels awkward, and that's what I get for having friends who are not streamers, I guess. But whatever. Oh yeah, it was also nice this year to sit down and edit a couple videos myself. I forgot to mention, some of my projects lately have been done by an editor who does really great work, Gumdrop. But unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of like times where I had a scripted thing to give them for last year, which is, unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. I don't remember if I know I gave them a couple projects last year. The one where me and Coda watched Vampire Homes together, but that one didn't get a lot of views just because of who the fuck gives a shit about Vampire Homes. Anime Boston as well. They did that video. I think they did. Oh yeah, they did the one about the Yuri manga. They did the Yuri manga review I did. And the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. So I did give them a few projects, but yeah, I always kind of feel bad because I know that they're looking for work or whatever, and they message me asking for if I have anything waiting, and I usually don't because I'm still trying to work on some of these bigger projects, the anime science ones, and they take a while, and I don't want to just churn out a couple quick scripts about certain things unless I actually like care about the current topic or whatever. I don't really want to rush that kind of stuff, so I guess that's just to give you guys all a quick update about the current state of things, I guess. I don't know. This is just, I wanted to do a video, so you got this. Thank you for watching. I hope this year goes well. I hope I make good content. I hope you guys enjoy it. Maybe I'll do more streams. Probably not. But either way, stay safe. Have fun. You're the gamer.